Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Nʉmʉ Tekwarʉ, the Comanche Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Sarae Ticeahkie. On this week's episode, we have a couple officers joining us who are going to allow us to deep dive into the world of the Comanche Little Ponies. Our guests today are Chairman Lowell Nibbs and Vice Chairman Benny Talmakera. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today.
You bet.
All right, so I will admit that prior to this episode, I tried to do some research on the Comanche Little Ponies, and unfortunately, I fell short. I don't know if I wasn't looking in the right places or however, but I think this episode is going to allow myself and our listeners to, get educated and be very informed. So with that being said, let's just hop into the big question. Who are the Comanche Little Ponies?
The Little Ponies are a society amongst the Comanche people. A warrior society. It's not a club or an organization. It's based upon actual Comanche history. Back when our people roamed this area as free people, there was a society called the Little Ponies, or Tariapukuna, those who ride small horses. That's what they called it back then. So it derives from that, from the society that actually existed long ago. In the late 60s, early 70s, a group of Comanche men got together and decided they wanted to revive the society. So, and this is what I'm told. I wasn't there way back then, but they went to the Comanche elders at that time, and requested permission to revive the society, which they gave them permission. So that's about when it actually got revived in early 70s. But there's so many things, misconceptions about the Little Ponies. We go to a lot of events, a lot of powwows. Some of the MCs actually know and will kind of correct people when they're talking about the Little Ponies. It's not actually a gourd society. It's a warrior society. So that's one of the misconceptions that people have about the society. They always call it the gourd society, but in actuality, it's not. It's a warrior society. It's a men's society that comes from Comanche history. What we do today, we're just a legacy of what was started way back when. We're just continuing that legacy for the people, and we try our hardest, to keep to our traditional values as we move forward and move into the future. The Little Ponies are one of the oldest, if you want to call it, an organization amongst the Comanche people. I don't call it the oldest. It may be, but I'm not for sure. But from the older gentlemen I've talked to, it is one of the oldest. And the one that's still around after all these years. There was a lot of organizations. I heard one MC talk about 20 organizations at one point, way back when. There aren't that many now. So for us to still be here and have our 55th annual celebration, it means a lot. It means a lot. And we do it for the people. It's for the people. That's where the organization comes from, amongst the Comanche people.
Okay, and who makes up the organization? Who is all involved to make the Comanche Little Ponies who they are?
It's made up of people from all walks of life. Doctors, lawyers, young people, old people. There's no set criteria for the Little Ponies like you have service organizations today that are made up of service people. You have CIVA made up of veterans. The Little Ponies is a mixture of everyone. We have no, when we bring people in, there's no set criteria. You have to be this, or this. So it's just made up of people from all walks of life. So from the young to the old, we don't take in children because it's a men's society. So they have to be of a certain age before they come into the society. But we have our women's auxiliary, which encompasses everyone again. So it's just encompasses everybody. Mainly Comanche tribal members are the ones that encompass the Little Ponies.
Okay. And so obviously you touch base on your annual powwow coming up, which we will get into in a little bit. But apart from that annual powwow, what are some things that y'all do to keep the Little Ponies, alive and well known, and kind of keeping people up to date with the organization?
Well, I guess we do a lot of things. We try to reach out to the community when we can. We try to help other organizations when they call upon us. We do a lot of co-hosting for, not just Comanche societies or organizations, but we get asked to do things across the nation pretty much. I mean, we've traveled all over the place, and, we meet a lot of different people. A lot of people, they ask, can we join? And I think one of the main things we look for is people that are come and help us, whenever we ask to be a co-host someplace. If people want to come and help out, we take that in consideration whenever we're looking at new members to come on board. But like I said, we help other organizations. We do a lot of fundraisers, and I think that's real big in our community. We've gone different places that have, like bingos, to raise money and stuff, but I think it's more of a community organized, and we get a lot of support from many different people. We have members across the nation that are Little Ponies that have come in at different times, the organization is old, and I know I just came in I believe 2003, and I've been a member since then. And since then, there's people way before me, and since I've been part of the organization, we've taken in a lot of new members as well. But I think we're community oriented for the most part, and we do what we can whenever we're asked, to help. I like to touch a little bit earlier on the question you had about the origin of the Little Ponies. I got my information oral tradition, and a lot of the information that was passed down to me from my grandmother. Her name was Anna Tekwarʉ, and whenever I was asked to become a Little Pony, I didn't know a lot about it, and I did the same thing. And I asked my grandmother, and she told me our origins, like Lowell was saying, back whenever we were nomads out on the plains in Comanche. She told me that whenever the men, they were known as the big horses, that they would go off to battle or to hunt, or whenever they were left the encampment, the younger men that were deemed, not old enough to go on the raids or the hunting parties, their responsibility was to take care of the encampment. And that's where the Little Ponies came from, the small horses.
Oh, okay.
They're responsible for taking care of the elders, taking care of the younger, tending to the horse herds that they had. We're known for, as a horse society, some of the best horse riders in the world were compared to, and but that was some of these young men's responsibility, and they did it. And over the years, like whenever Lois saying we got chartered back in the 70s, I believe. That's whenever those gentlemen at that time said, let's revive the Little Ponies. And that's whenever it became chartered, and that's where we're at today. So that was kind of the origin that I was told as a young man.
Okay. And so you said you've been since 2003, and I know you've been in it for quite a while.
I don't remember the year. I tell people I remember the location. It's been over 25 years, but I was brought in at Fort Sill Indian School way back when Watchtaker Hall, where they used to play bingo in there. I don't know. A lot of people, older people, remember that. So they had all their powwows at Fort Sill Indian School in the gymnasium. So that's where I was brought into the society by those men that were present back then. Things are different from now, from when I came into the society. I tell people, back then you didn't approach the Little Ponies. The Little Ponies approached you to come into the society. So that's how I came in, and they dressed me in the arena at Fort Sill Indian School. A real special time. I remember the day. I just don't remember the year. I was in my 20s, so that was a long time ago. But I'm glad he clarified about the society, because there is a big pony society. There's a Little Pony Society, and there was a big pony society. Little ponies weren't full-fledged warriors yet, so they belonged to the Little Pony Society. Then they would move up into the Big Pony Society, go on raids, and be warriors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there kind of touch on the criteria that has changed to become a part of the organization that you kind of talked about a second ago?
Well, back in the beginnings, it was mainly Comanche. They only took in Comanches. And then it kind of evolved into where they have they called associate member status, and those are non-Comanches that they started to bring in. I'm half Comanche and I'm half Cheyenne. My mother's full-blood Comanche. Back then, they brought in my father, who was a full-blooded Cheyenne. He became an associate member, the Little Ponies. So that's how that kind of started to get going. And then it evolved through time where they start bringing in not Nʉmʉ, not Comanche. And now today, in the last few years, it seems like we're mainly only bringing in Comanche. Kind of put more of a focus on bringing in our Comanche people into the society.
Is there some criteria like age or anything like that? I know you said it's a men's society, but is there a certain age that they are allowed to join?
13 years old. We don't want to bring in anybody. And we're talking about men, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. Only the men are, like on Friday, only the men will be initiated into the society. Our women are welcomed into the society because it is a man's society. So they all come into the auxiliary. There's no differential in the women's status other than our princes. They have a special status within the Little Ponies. But criteria wise, we have a meeting. We have people that want to join submit a little bio to us, and we have a meeting every year and kind of talk about it. I don't know. What would you say the criteria is?
Like I said, people that want to come out and help, we get asked throughout the year, hey, I want to be a Little Pony, and that's the last time you see them. Mm-hmm. But then there's other people that are serious about it and want to be a part of our society. And those are the ones that we, look at and, decide. And our whole organization, we vote on whether to accept or not accept. I mean, kind of democratic way of doing it, but families that have been in the society, we look at them, and then people, like Lowell was saying, some of our people are non-Nʉmʉ, and if they're wanting to help and they come out with us, help support us, wherever we go. Like I said, we powwow. We could probably powwow every weekend if,
yes,
we could. And but I think we have a pretty strenuous schedule as it is, and we do the best we can. But just if you come out and help us, we consider that.
Is there a specific place that people have to submit this application or process or anything like that?
No, just a simple email to us.
Okay.
We do see the people that are sincere about it, that want to join. And one of the other things is how we sustain ourselves. Everyone in the organization gets along. There's no fussing. There's no fighting. So when you're looking at people that want to join, you kind of look at that too. Are they going to get along? Can they get along within a group? That's one of the main reasons we exist for so long, is because everybody works together. There's no bossing around of anybody. They just pitch in and do it. So that's a big key to how we sustain ourselves. It's just that everybody gets along, they pitch in, they help out. It's just a group effort. I've seen infighting within other groups basically destroy them, and we're lucky we haven't had that. So it's really, God blessed us with that.
And now you mentioned that, if you could powwow every weekend, you would. And so I kind of just want to touch on that for some who may not know what is a powwow. You kind of want to explain like the procedure, the protocols, or just what is a powwow?
I guess from a Comanche point of view, I would say here, people have their ways of doing different things. Like I said, whenever we get asked to be co-hosts for other tribes, we respect their ways, and we don't try to push our ways upon them. And the same way with the Little Ponies, whenever we ask, appropriate dress, long sleeves, usually black slacks, if you're not dressed out in your traditional regalia. We do have criteria on how we dress. Certain things that you do and you don't do, but it's kind of, I don't know how you explain it. We kind of hold to our own, right?
Yeah. Powwows are social gatherings where people come together to fellowship amongst another and sing and dance and take part in your culture. But they're more or less gatherings where people come. For instance, our dance, people come from all over the country to the dance. And we have a lot of families that they don't see each other a lot until they all come to the dance, and they're all there. Families within our society. So that's one thing I really noticed last year is they say, well, it's the only time we get together. They come there so they can be together and they help out. So that's one of the main things powwows are that we think about in our area. Now they've changed quite a bit in the last 5 years, 10 years with the big powwows, the big where they offer hundreds of thousands of dollars. And,
Right.
They dance for 3 days and $5,000 entries. And it's really evolved into something different than what we do. Our powwow will always be traditional. It's going to stay that way. The way we do things. A lot of the young generation will probably call it old-fashioned, whatever, but we're going to stick to that. We're not going to. I tell people we're not here to offer you hundreds of thousands of dollars in prize monies. That's not why we're here. So.
Okay, well, with that being said, let's just hop into it and tell us about the 55th annual powwow.
It is the 55th annual. Well, a few years ago, somebody had asked me, what number powwow is this? We'd never put it on the flyer because we didn't know
Okay.
back then. And I would ask the older members, when did this start? When was the first dance? And they couldn't pinpoint it. So we couldn't pinpoint a number on it. I could just went by when they remember having the first annual. So we kind of went off of that. And that's where we're at today. As long as I've been a member, it's happened every year except for 2 years. And that was during the pandemic. For 2 years, we couldn't have it. And it just really, it was so weird to not have it. It really disappointed a bunch of people, but we just couldn't do it. So this is the 55th annual. It gets a little bigger every year. Certainly gets more expensive, but we're excited to have it. We had our final meeting last night. Everything looks in place. Like I said, it's just one of those things where we call it a celebration because we're celebrating our culture. We're celebrating the society because we're still here after all this time. But it's more or less a celebration of our Comanche nation, Comanche culture, bringing our people together. That's kind of why we call it a celebration. So it's always a good gathering. Like I said, people coming from all over Oklahoma and beyond, and vendors coming from many different states coming to be with us. So it's a lot of work, but everybody pitches in, and we've been having it at the same location for quite a while. So Comanche Fairgrounds, they really help us, back us in what we do because we've been there for so long. So this year is going to be a good one. It's the first time we've gone 2 full days. Way back when in the 70s, 80s, they used to have a 3-day dance, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's too much for work.
Yes.
So we used to have it a day and a half, Friday night and then Saturday, but we can't get everything done that we need to get done. We're always rush. So this year we decided we'd start on Friday at noon. I know a lot of people have to work, so we'll see how that goes. But it's going to be 2 full days this year. So we've got a packed agenda, so it should be really good.
Yes. I think it's, our annual powwow is very special just at the timeline that it takes place. It's on Mother's Day weekend. And like Lowell was saying, a lot of families, get together and get to mix with their family and everything. Like Lil said, everybody comes from different places, to attend our powwow. Kind of beginning of the powwow season, here in May. And it seems like from this, everything starts rolling, powwow after powwow. But like I said, we do it Friday and Saturday, our powwow. And then, Sunday, whoever is around, they can spend time with their mothers, celebrate Mother's Day. And I think it's a very special time that we do it on Mother's Day weekend.
Now, you said that it's probably going to be a packed agenda for these 2 days. Can you kind of just go over what's going to be happening Friday afternoon, the evening, and then onto Saturday?
Okay. I do want to mention that if you can't be there, Lone TP Productions will broadcast the entire thing live on the internet. Oh. So, and they're on all platforms, Facebook, the internet. He's on everything, he told me. So this is something we incorporated a couple of years ago that I didn't know if our event was big enough to warrant having it broadcast over the internet. And after the first year, everybody really enjoyed it. People that couldn't come said, well, I sat on the couch and watched it. So we're continuing that. So just want to throw that out there that you can watch it on the internet through Lone TP Productions. Last year we had some visitors come all the way from Italy.
Oh, wow.
He had emailed me and told me he was coming. A lot of people email me and tell me they're coming. I was kind of like, okay. But they actually came. It was about 5 or 6 gentlemen from Italy. They were on their way to South Dakota to a reservation to do something, cultural work or something, but they wanted to go to attend an actual powwow, they said. So they came to our dance and they actually showed up. I was kind of surprised. The only thing is they didn't really speak English.
Oh.
So we kept asking for anybody to speak Italian and couldn't find anybody. So it was really hard to kind of communicate with them because they didn't speak hardly any English. So, and this year we've got a gentleman coming from Germany. He's going to film a documentary about Route 66. And included in that is going to be about Indians, Native Americans. So he asked if he could come and shoot some footage, interview some people, stuff like that. And I told him, yeah, you could come. There's going to be some stipulations, of course, about him being there. But we're excited to see this gentleman come and see what he's all about and his documentary. So second year in a row, we had some international visitors. So we're looking forward to that.
So you are getting bigger. I mean, it's getting out there.
Yes. Yeah. But as far as our program, we'll start off with a cedar ceremony at noon on Friday, which is open to everyone if you want to come out. And a lot of people like to get cedared off. And as Benny said, this dance kind of kicks off what I've been told is a powwow season as it goes into summer, all the big contest powwows. I don't consider this a big contest powwow, but a lot of people say this kind of the starting of the summer powwow season. We'll gourd dance at 1:00, immediately after the cedar ceremony. We'll bring in some new members at around 3:00 on Friday. We have about 4 men and 5 women that are going to come into the society. So that's always exciting. We'll have a supper break at 5:00. We have 4 food vendors coming in and 1 lemonade stand. So there'll be plenty of things to eat, Native American foods. Invite you to come out and participate with these guys. 6:00, we'll have a calling song, and we'll go into some contests at that point, war dancing, social dancing. Then we'll end about 10:30 on Friday. Saturday, which is always kind of the main day, we'll start again at noon with the gourd dance. Then we'll have our princess coronation at 2:00. That's when we're going to change princesses. We got an incoming, we got an outgoing. That's always something very special. I invite you all out to come and be a part of that. Again, we'll break again at 5:00 for supper. And we always feed everyone. We tell everyone we plan on feeding 500 people a day.
Oh, wow.
So again, with the powwows today, they don't feed everyone. You know, you're kind of on your own. So, but we'll always feed everyone. So that's a traditional thing to do. So we'll always do that. 6 p.m. will be grand entry. Tell all the dancers, you got to be there. You got to be in grand entry. Every year we have them coming up. They miss grand entry, and they're, oh, I'm sorry, I missed it, And I thought, well, I'm sorry. They got their cry stories and everything else. So be there at 6. It's going to be on time, no end in time. And then about 11 o'clock, we'll conclude the day's activities.
I was really interested to kind of hear about, you mentioned an arrow during dancing. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit more?
Yes, this is another one of the oral tradition stories that was passed down to me by my uncle, Ko Tamakera. And he told me, he said, like the first session, a lot of the little ponies will dance with an arrow. And that signifies the hunting traditions, of the little ponies whenever they were taking care of the encampments, whenever they had to go out and hunt for food. But that was just to signify, their hunting capabilities. But like Lowell was telling me also, we share these stories back and forth, and he kind of expanded. He goes, he was told also, if you dance with the point up of the arrow, that signifies you're at war. And if you dance with the point down, that's peacetime, basically, I guess. But these are just some of the things that were passed down. And, I asked Lowell a lot of times, stories that I hear, have you heard of this? We kind of verify back and forth, to make sure we're not e-shopping when we tell these stuff. Because some of the stories, but it's just like, just kind of validate and make sure we're not, interpreting what we hear and stuff.
Yeah.
We did have a gentleman present us in the arena one time. The members that were there, he presented all the men with an arrow. So that was a real traditional thing to do. Mm-hmm. I still have mine. And we've discussed about dancing with the arrows, but not everybody's in agreement on how we can do it and where to do it. It may happen, but at one time somebody did present all the men with arrows.
So with that, dancing and things like that, tell us some stories about over the years, going to these powwows, traveling, kind of just give us some insight.
Oh, I mean, it's always a good time whenever we ask to go someplace, or when we all come together, like Lo was saying, caravanning to out of state. I remember going to Muscalera and going out there, just different places like that. And it's always a good time. And
that kind of goes back to why people want to be a part of society. They know they're going to get to travel. We travel well. We take a lot of people whenever we go somewhere. But we've gone on long trips, really long trips before. We went back and forth to Fort Hall, Idaho for about 5 years. And we drove. We drove up there. Took us 2 days to get there, 2 days to get back. But just have everybody on the road together. And it's always fun. We'd stop and eat somewhere, even if it was just a picnic. I remember being in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and there's 20, 25 Comanches sitting at a rest stop eating sandwiches. But it's just a lot of fun being out there and meeting people. Just a lot of fun stories about traveling, even if it's not that far. Like if we go up to Tulsa or Wyandotte or whatever. But that's one of the things about being a little pony is, and I tell our princesses that are coming in with us that you're going to travel. Do you enjoy traveling? And they say, yeah. Do you enjoy meeting other people, other tribes? And because that's what you're going to do when you come into the society. So lots of good stories. What can you think of?
Yeah, I mean, just like we were talking earlier about, you see some interesting things go on. I mean, they're like funny sometimes. Like, I think Lowell was talking about when we were over at Taipei, and a gentleman said that he wanted to gift us a horse, and they stopped the powwow. And this man came out there, middle of the arena, and brought a horse out to us and gifted it to us. And then he left, and here we are. We're like, okay, we're little ponies. And, we get a horse at a powwow. It was interesting time, fun times.
Yeah, and he mentioned we went down to Muscalero. We went down there a couple of times. we got down there and on their reservation, and where we were dancing was an old football field, and the wind that day was just 20 or 30 miles an hour, and it was like a dust bowl, a literal dust bowl, and we're sitting there dancing in it, and they didn't stop the dance, and so we danced in it. It's just swirling. That's one of the interesting things. But when we went down there, we had stopped in what's the place?
Roswell.
Roswell. We stopped in Roswell, and we're just all wandering around. A whole bunch of Comanches is wandering around downtown, which is really neat if you've never been there because they got the aliens everywhere.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And then his grandmother, there was a little display with aliens, and we took her picture with all them aliens, and just really iconic picture. One of the things I think about, just something in our travels. So there's just so much more. We rode a bus out to California. We went out to California one time, and we rented a bus and put everybody on there, and that was something. I'll never do that again. So riding a bus for 2 days is not fun. Oh my God. But it was good travels, everybody being there, and we would stop, and stopping was not good because everybody would wander off and trying to get everybody back on the bus to leave again. So, but we just have so many stories of all the places we've been. We've been blessed that people ask us to go to these places.
Yes.
So, and like I said, when we travel, it's like a little army sometimes. So it's always good. It's always good. And we can't always go where people ask us to go because we're usually busy. People have to ask us way in advance to go places. So we were just asked recently to go to Texas, but we can't because we're already committed for something.
So, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but has anybody, apart from tribes, or maybe the tribes too, misinterpreted what the society is because it is called the Little Ponies? Like, have you ever, anything ever happened like that before?
Yeah. Some of it happened down in at Texas during your Texas musical. Had people, we were there, was in the pre-show, and it's all tourists. So people come up and start asking you kind of questions. They think we actually have little ponies, little horses. What do we do with them? And do we ride them? And you're kind of taken aback, and then when you try to explain a little bit about things like that, some of them always want to touch your regalia, and we ask them not to. They're just real curious of what you're wearing, why you're wearing it, where you get it from. So there's a lot of misconceptions, especially when we go way off from Oklahoma, out of this area. They just generally don't have any idea. So we do our best to explain and see if they understand from there.
Okay, so apart from the annual powwow, you mentioned some upcoming powwows or the Comanche Summer. Do you kind of want to touch on that a little bit, Benny, and kind of tell us about that?
Okay. Comanche Summer is something that Marla Nonai and I have done since about 2012. There's an outdoor musical drama in the bottom of Paladura Canyon. There's an amphitheater down there, and once a year, we ask some dancers, singers to come down. Texas budgets it for us, and we try to get as many champion dancers, as many royalty singers, to come down. And it's a pre-show before the actual show starts. And this year, Comanche Summer is going to be on June 21st, and it's a pre-show. Like I said, we do demonstration dances. We'll do some gourd dance, the women's categories. Then we'll do the men's categories, usually about an hour and a half, before the show starts. And actually, the actual Texas show, it starts June the 6th and goes through August the 9th. And we perform 6 days a week. We're off on Mondays. My role in it is I portray Chief Quanah Parker in the play, which is kind of nice because, I am an actual Quanah Parker descendant, and I get to portray my great-great-grandfather in the show. And Marla, she sings a Comanche hymn in the show. They especially wrote these scripts and the placement in the show for us to be in there. So if you get a chance, come out June the 21st and see Comanche Summer, or just come down to Palo Duro Canyon, take in the show. If you've never been to Palo Duro Canyon, it's a beautiful place. If you've never been there, and just take in, the historical facts of that was our homeland at one time. That canyon, it's about 100 miles long. The state park there there's roads that go through it, and you can go, hiking, just walk around out there and look around. But it's a beautiful place if you've never been there. And like I said, there's a lot of history of our Comanche people, that was our hideout at one time. But I'd like to invite y'all out. Anybody who wants to come out.
Okay. And if you could just kind of tell us some other upcoming events or where the Little Ponies will be.
One special event that we're working on is the Little Ponies are going to have a gourd dance down in Arlington, Texas on August 23rd at the University of Texas, Arlington. It's something we've been thinking about for a while. My original thought was to go out to Albuquerque and have a Comanche dance out there. But after searching for places and logistics and all that, we decided to not do that. And my thought was, well, let's go down to Dallas. There's a lot of tribal members in Dallas. There's a lot of natives in Dallas, not just Comanches. So let's go and share our culture with the people in that area. So we started a search, and it's really hard to find a place down there because it's so expensive and there's a lot of rules. It's not like renting a place here in Oklahoma. So we finally found a place. It's not official yet. That's why we haven't made a big announcement about it, but I will say it here on August 23rd, an all gourd dance program. We're going to call it a formal gourd dance. All the protocols are going to be in place. So as soon as we get the contract signed, we're going to make a flyer and put it out there. But we invite all the people that's in that area to come out. And I've been speaking with Madison Wiley down at Dallas Outreach, and they're really excited we're going to do this. And they're going to help us. I'm going to incorporate them into this. So we're just trying to reach out to all of the natives in that area, the Comanche tribal members. They're excited because it's a Comanche event. This is going to be a Comanche event. They have a lot of events, but not Comanche events. So that's going to be really special. It's going to be really special. So we invite everybody to put that on your calendar and come down there and be with us that day.
Okay. And you said formal gourd dance. Could you tell me just from what you know and your knowledge, what is a gourd dance?
The gourd dance is a man's dance. A lot of people don't understand that. We try to explain that during our dance for the younger people that don't understand that it is a man's dance. Just like when I say we initiate the men, it's nothing against the women. It's just the gourd dance is a man's dance. So the gourd dance, the women will dance along the edge. You won't see them out into the arena unless they're taking part in an honoring or something like that. It's just a traditional event. It's our customs. It's our traditions. I tell people during the gourd dance, as the men are dancing, the women should not pass in front of them. You should always go behind them. So when we go places, I see that, and I want to say something, but it's not our dance. We're not from there, but that's one of the things that I see as I travel around. So I try to make that known at our dance to the young ladies that might not know. Stay to the outside of the arena because the men are dancing.
Okay. And are there any specific like clothing or items that you have or hold during this dance?
I'll say traditionally we have our bandolera, the mezcal made out of mezcal beans, and a sash. Some people dance with the red and blue blanket, the broadcloth. Little Ponies, we have our vests, Little Pony vests that we dance with, or it's optional, with your blanket. Usually long sleeve, appropriate trousers, slacks. Usually we don't want blue jeans, dance or dress appropriately, or with your traditional regalia, leggings, moccasins, otter hat. We do wear an otter hat, and that was something that was gifted to us, I
Yes.
believe, to the Comanches.
Oh, okay.
That's one thing. The men wear the otter hats. Women wear them also, but like I said, I believe it was gifted to us from the Poncas, and at one time, I mean, long ago is when that took place. But we still carry that tradition today and wear the otter hat. Some people will wear a roach. It just depends on how they were taught, But we do ask to be, pretty formal. Young kids, keep, because a lot of young gourd dance, everybody likes the gourd dance, and that's one of the things I love about gourd dance is it's not a competition. I think anybody that comes out in gourd dance, they're dancing for the people that can't dance, and they're dancing for the self-joy of dancing, because we don't have a competition, like some of the other categories do. But that's one of the reasons I really love the gourd dance. And you'd be surprised. I mean, so many people will come out and dance. I mean, we'll have a full circle of men inside that arena sometimes, and just a lot of things, honoring taking place. I mean, it's a lot of activity, but it makes you feel good to get in that arena and celebrate, with your, fellow people, and it's just a good time.
Now you are, talking about dancing, and I think that's so awesome. Is there like a specific Little Ponies song that, gets sung during the powwows or just at any time?
Well, the Little Ponies actually have 3 songs.
Oh, okay.
There's a traditional gourd dance song that everybody knows. There's also a Mother's Day song that was composed by Galen Motoff, the Little Ponies, and you only generally hear it at our dance. We sing that in the evening, a Mother's Day song, and we invite everybody to bring the mothers out into the arena. And the Little Ponies also has a war dance song that was composed by Elton Yellowfish. You hear that a lot. You'll hear that sung during grand entry at the dance, but most people know the gourd dance song, and you'll hear that all day long at the powwow. So yeah, there's actually three. So we're blessed in that capacity that we have that. And you'll hear all 3, like I said, on this weekend.
Okay. And so does everyone kind of just know those songs when they're invited to come to be a part of the powwows, or is that how do you kind of choose your drummers, or like how does that work?
Well, yeah. The Little Pony song, the gourd dance song, is so old. And,
Okay.
Everyone knows it. Now, we've been some places where we've been one place out of state and they didn't know it, which was kind of surprising that they didn't know that song because everybody knows that song. I tell our princesses that are coming in, learn to know that song because when you hear it, we're going to call upon you. So we're going to be looking for you. So I think they all do. They because they're going to hear it so much during their reign that it's real familiar to people that gourd dance. So, but it's real popular. Not just Little Ponies call upon that song. I have people come up and ask me, "Can we use that song during our special?" I say, "Oh, of course. It's not just for members. Anybody can call on that song."
Okay. So before we wrap this episode up, would y'all mind kind of just, if you want to, tell us some stories you maybe heard from elders or past Little Pony members or anything like that maybe our listeners would like to hear?
I think I told mine.
You did?
Like the origin of the Little Ponies and then the arrow. Those are some things that I've passed down. Also, the otter hat. I don't think a lot of people really realize where that came from or how we.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
Were.
Yeah.
How it was gifted to us by the Poncas, and
yeah, most of the things I know are just from our travels. As Ed was mentioned before, you guys were trying to look online for things about the Little Ponies, and it didn't really dawn on me until you mentioned that. I have a lot of stuff, a lot of stories, but they're all on paperback. There are a lot of stories. There's a lot of articles, even a couple of books, I believe, but I don't think they're online. So if you wanted to research them, but there's a lot of stories about the Little Ponies and what they remember about them way back in the day when they started. I heard that when they first got started, these men would go to the creek and practice to dance. So things like that. It's mostly written down, I guess you'd say, in articles and things like that. I should have pulled them up and kind of went over them before we came here, but I know there's a lot of things like that. Like I said, I wasn't there in the beginning, so a lot of things I've been told, probably forgot a lot of it, but that's mainly where my stories that I can remember.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And listeners, again, the 55th annual powwow is coming up May 9th and 10th at the Comanche County Fairgrounds Expo Center. So come out and hang out. And we'll also have the Facebook page for the Little Ponies linked to this episode, so you can kind of check out all of the information that they have on there. So until next time, thank you. Bye.